Greater Sandton and beyond. Get ready for the Sandton Times Hour
with your host,
Alexander.
Ladies and gentlemen, everyone in between and beyond, welcome to the Sandton Times Hour, also available on all leading digital audio platforms. It's a very special travel edition of the show this week, but before we get into that, let me remind you that if you would like to get in touch, you can email your questions, your comments, or your feedback to editor@sandtontimes.co.za. You can also connect with the Sandton Times on social media @Sandton Times and visit the website www.sandtontimes.co.za for some more on today's show and, of course, so much more. A very special welcome to everyone listening for the very first time, and of course our regular listeners to the Sandton Times Hour. You are most welcome, and it's great to have you back again. Wherever you're tuning in from, if it's Johannesburg and Pretoria, if it's across South Africa, or anywhere else in the world, and let me tell you, we always have an impressive set of listeners coming from all corners of this planet. If you're listening online or on air, wherever you are, I'm glad you're here, and I'm happy to report that all is well in Sandton land. And those who listen regularly always know that Vincenzo joins me behind the mixing desk once more. Yeah, Vincenzo, this week we're doing something a little bit different, a very special edition of the show per se. This week, I'll be sharing some of my experiences in Hong Kong, and I did promise that I would do this because I did mention that I'd been there a couple of months ago, or is it weeks, and I had the opportunity to head there to this incredible city as the Sandton Times explored Hong Kong, and I thought, well, let me bring back some of those experiences to you and share some of that. So over the next hour, we'll be doing some armchair traveling together, and I will share some of my personal impressions, and by no means is it a definitive guide, but hopefully it'll inspire you to maybe consider a trip whenever you decide to take a break. And I know I've had so many people coming up to me at events and coming up to me, wherever we meet, and saying to me, I'm thinking of going somewhere. What do you suggest? I know you go to a lot of places. What's sort of up and coming? What's reasonable? What's not too far? What's like a great trip? So it's been great sharing this, and I'm thinking, why just share this with people one-on-one? Why not share it with our regular listeners of the Sandton Times Hour? So, what are we talking about this week? Well, as mentioned, we're heading to Hong Kong, and I'm going to chat about who I went with, the travel experience, and give you a bit of an appetizer of where we're going. Then I'll be catching up with a senior member of Cathay Pacific who very kindly helped me make this possible, and get a few updates from them and a few developments. Stay listening for that. It's going to be quite interesting. And then I get a chance to connect with the man who heads up rugby in China and Hong Kong to chat about the Cathay HSBC Hong Kong Rugby Sevens this year. And let me pre-warn you, even if you're not into rugby, this is an event unlike any other. I was well impressed. It was one of the parts of the itinerary that I really was looking forward to and had an absolute blast. So stay listening. And finally, I'll give you some impressions of Hong Kong outside of everything that I've told you already. What to do, what to see, who to do it with, what to taste, where to go. It's really going to be jam-packed. All the details are coming up in the next hour.
Follow the Sandton Times on social media
@Sandton Times.
So there I was in April, packing my bags for Hong Kong to join Cathay Pacific for a familiarization excursion to the city, its food, and its people, as well as, of course, the Cathay HSBC Hong Kong Sevens Rugby, and also to get a first look at some of the latest in-flight developments and an exclusive showcase that the airline was hosting as well in Hong Kong. And at this point, I have to have a bit of a fanboy moment, as I had a chance to also meet and chat to, in person, aviation YouTuber Sam Chui. And if you don't know who Sam Chui is, well, look him up on YouTube. I think you're going to thoroughly enjoy his videos. If you're into flying, into traveling, he's got some great stuff. But you might also remember that we interviewed him on the Sandton Times Hour, I think 1 or 2 years ago. He was in South Africa. He was on his way to the Antarctic. And I managed to get in touch with Sam. We chatted on the radio. And as I keep telling you, you put something out there and you never know what might happen. And there, Sam Chui and I were in Hong Kong having a chat at the rugby, at the showcase at Cathay, and it was just one of those moments in life where you just think, This is unbelievable. So do yourself a favor and go check out Sam's YouTube channel. Then who were my travel companions on this fascinating journey? Well, I had a really great bunch of people. We met as strangers. We left as friends, starting off with Iana Stradum. She is the DSTV Content Creator Award winner in the realm of travel and tourism last year. She's got a great account called Wander with Iana. And if you go to Instagram, you'll find her there. And she does some incredible trips, a lot of them in South Africa. And you can get some really great tips and trips that you can check out. Highly recommended. Then I had reality TV star Siamthanda Chwaku, aka Juicy J, to his fans who know him on Big Brother Titans, who joined us for this trip as well. Also very influential in the world of social media and also a rugby player as well. But talking about sports and rugby, Sunday Times sports journalist Liam Delcam joined me as well. And we were great. I mean, a mixed bunch of people, all coming from very different parts of content and media. But we were on a journey together to head off to Hong Kong. We got onto a Cathay Pacific flight from OR Tambo to Hong Kong, which is great. It's a direct flight. That's just something to bear in mind. And as luck may have it, we got upgraded to business class, which is a win at the best of times. Let me tell you, I don't know if you've been flying of late. As the normal route goes, you end up in economy class. And I must say, economy class on most airlines these days has become almost unbearable. Apart from the fact that, they've changed the whole thing about how you can select seats and you have to pay extra for almost anything. When you then do get a chance to fly premium economy or business class, well, let me tell you, it's an absolute game changer. It's a 12-hour flight to Hong Kong. They have just to mention, they've got a full lie flat seat or bed, so you can actually lie flat and sleep. But when you're flying business class, the last thing you want to do is sleep, because there's so much to do and so much to experience that you actually want to make the most of your 12 hours and see and do and experience everything. So there was very little sleep per se, but also worth pointing out is that Hong Kong, you don't need a visa as a South African. Of the handful of places in the world that you can go to where you don't need a visa, this is one of them. And let me tell you, that's just another one of those expenses / administrative things that you can just tick off and not worry about. Briefly touching on the business class experience. Well, as I said, they had a lie flat seat, which is great. And it's really cool. They come and they make it up for you if you want to. I didn't really use it too much because I was making sure I got the most of the entire experience. There's obviously insane entertainment. And what's really cool about this Cathay interface that they've got, because they've really been working on the tech side of this as well, it's got like a timeline on the screen. So they kind of give you like a highly recommended timeline as to when you should be doing what on the flight. So it shows you when it takes off. It shows you when the meals are going to be served. It shows you when should you be watching a movie? When should you maybe go to sleep? When could you wake up? Etc., etc. So if you're not too sure what to do and you need a bit of guidance, well, there's something on the screen there that you can do. They've got thousands of movies for you to watch through. I mean, series. I actually got a chance to catch up on the new edition of Frasier. If you're a big Frasier fan from the 90s, well, they've brought it back again. Then in terms of the dining on this flight, I mean, you can just imagine this is on a totally different level to the usual sort of economy class experience. It's you get a full-on table, you get a napkin, you get all the crockery and cutlery. The team is absolutely tremendous. You've got a fantastic selection of dinner and breakfast choices. I mean, I've never dined like this on a plane before. And what's even more exciting is when the dessert table arrives. And it's not a dessert table, it's actually a dessert trolley. It's a double-story trolley with a fruit platter, a cheese platter, a selection of Haagen-Dazs ice cream. So if you're into that, that's something for you. Cakes and slices and sweet treats, and you can literally eat yourself from top to bottom. There's Fit Cook, and there's a couple of South African sort of favorites. And then if that isn't enough between the usual dinner, then they also have an extra menu where you can have things like a burger or sort of snacks in between. So you are never left wanting in terms of drink and food. And then what's also really lovely about this is that when the movie starts, when you decide to sort of settle in and watch a movie, they bring you some caramel popcorn. So it is really indulgent. I must also say one of the things that was also quite entertaining was the business class bathroom, because it has a window in the bathroom. I've never been on a toilet in the sky that has a window in it. And at first when you walk in, you think, oh my gosh, there's a window. But awkward to have to use the bathroom with a window. But then you realize no one's going to be looking in. And if they do, be very odd if they did at 35,000 feet. But a really fantastic flight, an experience of a lifetime. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Then briefly touch on the flight back while we're talking about flights. On the flight back, got a chance to try out the premium economy, which is the current seating. And as we got to learn on this trip, there's some new seating that's being rolled out on the Cathay Pacific flights, where they've enhanced a whole bunch of new things in terms of privacy and functionality, etc. So this was a chance to just try out the current configuration. Also, a great experience. I mean, definitely one up on economy. And as part of the itinerary for this trip, I had a chance to also try out the Pier Lounge, which is Cathay's lounge at the Hong Kong airport. Quite a walk from where I originally got in, but I said I want to try out their best lounge because they've got a whole bunch of different lounges. And I said, no, I want to go check that out and see what the full experience looks like. And once again, not left wanting. They have it all there. They've got different pockets where you can relax and rest and just switch off, have a bit of a shower. They've got different dining options in terms of Western cuisine, which was very much sort of Italian. Then they had much more sort of Asian cuisine, which kind of features a lot of broths and those sort of things. And then you've also got a full-on bar, and then plenty of space to work, relax, connect, catch up on things. And you've pretty much got everything that you want under one roof. And that was really a really fabulous experience. Right, we're going to have a quick refreshment break. And then I'm joined by Anand Yedery. He's the Regional Head of Customer Travel and Lifestyle, South Asia, Middle East and Africa at Cathay Pacific, to get a couple of more insights from him. So stay right where you are.
You're listening to the Sandton Times Hour.
So joining me right now from India is Anand Yedery. He is the Regional Head of Customer Travel and Lifestyle, South Asia, Middle East and Africa at Cathay Pacific. And Anand, thank you for making the time to be on the Sandton Times Hour.
Thank you, Alex. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Well, listen, it was a pleasure to spend some time with the Cathay Pacific team in Hong Kong. And as part of our visit there, we actually got to be part of a bit of a customer showcase, getting a glimpse into what is coming up at the airline. You launched a new premium economy offering. You also had a range of tech and hospitality enhancements that are coming along the way. What is driving a lot of this investment from your side?
Well, firstly, Alex, very, very happy that you could experience it firsthand, our new product offerings, whether it's our premium economy or even our tech offerings that you heard about in terms of, we call it as our lifestyle version. What's driving it? I would say it's our customers. The reason I say it's our customers is because we are a service-oriented airline. Basically, call ourselves as the premium service airline in the industry, and our ambition is to be the world's best. In fact, very recently we got rated as amongst the top 3 by airliners.net. So we are growing very fast as far as being closer to our ambition of being the best airline. Yes, what's driving these investments? Like I said, it's our customers. We listen to our customers. We want to know what's important for them. We are currently operating premium economy even on our Johannesburg, Hong Kong route. By listening to our customers and by knowing what is important for them and what is it that they value, we are able to enhance the product further. So that we could then provide them with the latest state-of-the-art technology added to it as far as premium economy is concerned. And that's something that you would see in our new premium economy product, which gives you the right amount of comfort and privacy as far as premium economy cabin is concerned. Also, in terms of lifestyle that we are offering today to our customers is basically we are looking at engaging with our customers who are traveling with us, not just while they're traveling, but also beyond their travel needs. For example, just to tell you, our customers can now go on our website, not just when they want to book their flights, but also if they are looking for hotels or if they're looking for travel attraction points at the destination that they're looking for. Now, Cathay Pacific offers them one-stop shop through our Cathay Holidays tab, which is on the website itself. So that's what we are trying to now diversify over and beyond just travel needs of theirs. So yeah, that's where we are heading towards. And it's mainly driven by what our customers are looking for.
Right. Well, look, I mean, you've touched on it now, and this was going to be one of my sort of critical questions to you, was to say, how important is this Johannesburg-Hong Kong route for Cathay Pacific? I mean, you relaunched it again in 2023. I'm assuming it's doing pretty well.
Absolutely. If you go back, Cathay actually started operating Hong Kong, Johannesburg way back in 1991. So it's been more than 3 decades now that we are operating on this route. In fact, Cathay was one of the few airlines then which actually connected the continent of Africa and Asia. And of course, why is it important for us? We've seen ever since we started flights then, we've seen the two countries' trade and economies actually grow. In fact, one other key segment that travels on this route for us is South African citizens who are from the Chinese ethnicity, and they are in South Africa, but they have a lot of their relatives and friends who are actually staying in China and Taiwan. So they frequently travel to meet their friends and relatives. And also, South Africa is a very beautiful country as far as tourism is concerned. Cathay actually also connects a lot of Asian countries like China, Taiwan, Japan, Korea, and we carry a lot of these travelers into South Africa who are looking for a beautiful holiday. So it is definitely one of the most important routes for us and has been serving very well so far. We are currently operating just 3 flights, just having come out of the pandemic. However, very soon, hopefully we are hoping to be daily by first quarter next year.
Very interesting. And I mean, I'm going to be keeping an eye out as that expands, because I do think it is a really fabulous gateway into Asia. I mean, for anyone who's looking to go to Hong Kong and beyond, I think it's a really nice way to kind of get there. How do you balance the need for people still needing luxury and still wanting to have a premium experience, but also the element of affordability and accessibility? Because it is a very competitive market. The world economy is in a bit of turmoil. Things have gotten more expensive, but you can't sort of just use that as an excuse. I mean, you can't just say, well, we're going to put a wooden bench into the plane because, that's just the cheapest way of doing it. People still are expecting some level of comfort.
Absolutely. Being premium comes naturally to us. However, we are always very conscious of the different segment of travelers who travel with us. So there are travelers who may be looking for luxury, as you rightly mentioned. So for them, of course, we have our business class and our first class, which kind of offers them the kind of luxury and the kind of comfort they're looking for. Similarly, at the same time, we also have a premium economy cabin. So there are a lot of travelers who are looking for a bit of, premium in their travel when it comes to, say, comfort, silence, because they want the cabin. Usually economy cabins are huge, so they want some sort of privacy for themselves and a seat which is larger than the usual economy seat. So again, premium economy kind of with a little more higher payout in terms of for the ticket, they end up can use premium economy. And of course, in terms of our economy class, we not just offer economy to travelers who are looking for flexibility, but also we offer them range between, somebody wants to travel very light. They may not have much baggage. They may have fixed dates of travel, which means they go in and out on a date that they decide, and they're not looking for flexibility. There are those fare products which give them price that is much more affordable, as again somebody who's looking for a flexibility to travel in and out, as well as looking for more baggage. So basically, if you look at our fare products that we offer to our customers, we do offer them a range which gives them a choice to make depending on their needs and requirements as they travel. So yes, it is also affordable. At the same time, they get premium service.
Well, listen, it was great to test drive your business class product as well as your premium economy product. And it didn't leave me wanting. It was really a superb experience, and certainly something I can highly recommend for anyone looking to do a bit of travel into Asia. I've been chatting to Anand Yedery. He's the regional head of customer travel and lifestyle, South Asia, Middle East and Africa at Cathay Pacific. Anand, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you, and thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you so much, Alexander. It's been a pleasure to be with you here.
You're listening to the Sandton Times Hour.
And as we get into the second half of the Sandton Times Hour, don't forget that if you caught something intriguing during the show this week, but you missed some of the details, don't worry. Head over to www.sandtontimes.co.za and explore the comprehensive show notes for a breakdown of all the highlights from this week's edition with more reading, more links, and everything you could ask for. Also, don't forget to connect with the Sandton Times on social media. At Sandton Times, there's also some great videos, some great photos. It gives you a bit of an idea of some of the stuff we've been talking about. And also feel free to join the conversation there. And it's always good to hear from you. So if you've just joined the flow of the show, well, I'm reminiscing about a trip that I did to Hong Kong this year, which I included some sightseeing, a product and services briefing on the latest from Cathay, as well as the most epic day at the Cathay HSBC Hong Kong Sevens Rugby from the 5th to the 7th of April 2024. It was the 6th round of the tournament, and it was my first time to have a chance at experiencing Sevens Rugby. But here to chat to me about this is Hong Kong China Rugby CEO Robbie McRobbie, all the way from Hong Kong. And Robbie, it's wonderful to have you on the Sandton Times Hour.
Thank you for having me. Delighted to be here.
Well, Robbie, I mean, if you reflect on this year's Hong Kong Sevens Rugby, what are some of sort of the thoughts and feedback that you've managed to gather as you reflect on the 2024 edition?
Well, I think first and foremost, South Africa failed to win again.
Oh, now, Robbie, please.
Hong Kong, I think, is... I'm a big South African rugby fan, and I'm always so sad that Hong Kong has been the title that has eluded the Blitzpot for so many years. But apart from that, apart from the disappointment of the South African teams not winning, from our perspective, it's the first time that we've sold out the tournament since pre-COVID, 2019. So that was a fantastic milestone for us to have a full stadium, 40,000 spectators bought tickets for each day, 3 days, so 120,000 ticket sales over the course of the weekend. That was good, and there was a real buzz back in the stadium. I mean, I think for those fans who are regular visitors, they were all very complimentary in saying that it was really back to the good old days. The South Stand was absolutely buzzing. But for those who don't know, that's our party fancy dress stand. The whole weekend, I think that the feedback has been very, very positive from the fans, from the sponsors, and importantly from the teams as well. The teams and the refs enjoyed themselves, and that's always very important for us as well.
Well, it certainly came across as a very well-organized event, and I mean, you highlighted the fact that I think there's almost as much energy and fun in the stands as there is on the field. I mean, it's a very short format game. I think it's about 10 minutes. I think the final's 20 minutes, split into two parts. So you're really watching rugby in bite-sized segments, but there's so much happening in and around the actual games that you're having so much fun. I mean, there's even a sort of, I would almost call it a halftime show, even though it's not halftime, it's just before the final. But I mean, that band that performed was absolutely tremendous. I mean, then you've got all the hospitality suites, you've got activations going on, you've got people dressing up. I mean, that seems to be sort of part of the big selling point of what makes rugby sevens.
Yeah, I mean, the saying is, if you get bored at the Hong Kong Sevens, you can turn around and watch the rugby. The crowd does make a lot of its own entertainment, which is fantastic. You don't need to really push them in any particular direction. You just kind of facilitate them enjoying themselves. The entertainment's always been a really important part of that, the music, and I'm glad to say that this time we made some good choices. We had the Wailers on Saturday, which, you know, the old Bob Marley hits reverberating around the stands was good. And then on Sunday, absolutely incredible performer, Arnold Pineda, who's the lead singer of Journey, but who has got an amazing backstory. He actually spent 10 years playing in Filipino cover bands in Hong Kong, in pubs and restaurants. When I first came to Hong Kong in 1992, he was the lead singer of the Strolling Bones, that was a house band in an Igor's haunted house themed restaurant. Honestly true. And when Journey, so one of the, Don't Stop Believing, anyway, one of the biggest stadium rock bands in the world, who were looking for a new lead singer, one of the band members found a YouTube clip of Arnell singing "Don't Stop Believing" in a pub in Hong Kong, and they tracked him down. He was back in Manila by that stage, and convinced him to go to San Francisco for an audition. If people don't believe this, there's a documentary called "Don't Stop Believing," which tells the whole story. It's amazing, and he is such a nice guy, and he absolutely, he killed it on Sunday. He was amazing.
He was truly amazing, and at one point, I wasn't even quite sure, because obviously I was sitting in the Cathay suite at quite a distance when he did Sweet Child of Mine and whatever, and then obviously Don't Stop Believing by Journey. I wasn't quite sure if you were actually watching the original band or if this was somebody else singing it. I mean, it was really almost interchangeable, and it brought such an energy and such a vibe. And then obviously once we got to Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi, I mean, the whole place just fell apart, and it was just the most amazing energy in the space. But to come back to the event, I mean, if you've never been and you're listening right now, I really highly recommend to do this and put this on your bucket list, because even if you're not into rugby, even if you've never thought of going to Hong Kong, I mean, this is just something to experience. And it seems like this event plays a big part in the Hong Kong economy in terms of the calendar every year. I mean, there were people coming up to me that didn't look really like they were big into rugby, and it doesn't seem like rugby is a big sort of Southeast Asian sport. But here we were, and people were having a fantastic time.
Yeah, it's developed into Hong Kong's our carnival, our Mardi Gras. It's the whole city gets very, very excited about it, which is wonderful. I mean, the three blokes who came up with the idea to have an invitational sevens tournament in a pub in 1976 just had no idea what they were unleashing on the world. But I mean, it is important for the city, both in terms of it's about 400 million Hong Kong dollars worth of direct impact on the economy. That's everything from the bars, the restaurants, the hotels, the taxis, all that kind of stuff. But also just in terms of the profile of the event and how it helps boost the city's image around the world is very important. I've got to say though, if you've never been to the Cape Town Sevens, go to that. I've been lucky enough to go a number of times. My brother actually owns a hotel in Tulbagh.
Oh wow!
So the Tulbagh Hotel. There's only one hotel in Tulbagh. So I've been lucky enough to go to. In fact, I went to the World Cup Sevens in Cape Town a couple of years ago, and I've been to the Sevens a couple of times, and it's brilliant as well. So definitely come to the Hong Kong Sevens, but if you haven't been to the Cape Town Sevens, go to that as well, because it's also a fantastic weekend.
Well, in the words of Disney, it's a small world after all. It's unbelievable how interconnected we are. But I must say, after my Hong Kong experience, I am now very inclined to go to the Cape Town one. And I think, I hope a lot of other people join me on that, because I think it is really just the most fantastic experience. But to come back to the tournament now and looking at it going forward, there is a plan now, up until now, I think it's been hosted in an area called Happy Valley, if I've got that right. It's now moving to a new venue, Kai Tak Sports Park. What was some of the decisions to do that? Is it because it's growing? Do you need more space?
Yeah. So we pre-COVID, we were selling out very quickly every year. So the current stadium is got a 40,000 seat capacity. So yeah, we definitely were keen to have a bigger venue, but the Kai Tak Sports Park initiative is really about far more than the Rugby Sevens. Although, having said that, the main stadium, which with 50,000 seats, is probably one of the few stadiums in the world which has actually been designed with a Rugby Sevens tournament in mind. There's actually 24 changing rooms, which is quite exceptional. But the whole Kai Tak Sports Park, which is built on the old airport site, is very, very important for the Hong Kong sports events industry, much broader than just for the rugby sevens. The current stadium, first of all, doesn't have a roof, and that's important for two reasons. One, the weather here in the summer, it's so hot and humid that you can't have any events in an outdoor stadium. So June, July, August are basically just write-offs. The other problem with the current stadium, because there's no roof, is noise. So it's actually, as you will know now, it's in quite a built-up residential area, and the local residents complain bitterly whenever there's any sort of event in there. So they have never been able to use it for live music concerts. So that has also really hampered bringing big bands and singers to Hong Kong. So the new stadium in Kai Tak does have a retractable roof. So both of those problems, the weather and the noise, will no longer be an issue, which is fantastic. But also on the sports park site, there's a public sports ground, which is smaller, 5,000 seat stadium. There's an indoor sports arena of 10,000 seats. There's a large kind of fan zone. There's shopping. So it's, again, the current stadium is really only comes alive when there is an event. The rest of the time it sits empty. Whereas the Kai Tak Sports Park, the idea is it'll be a vibrant hub for the sports and events industry 365 days of the year.
On a more personal note, you've announced your departure in the middle of this year, 2024, as the CEO of Hong Kong China Rugby, and I'm sure there's quite a big community that is also sad to see you go, and obviously see this tenure come to an end. What triggered this decision for you to step down, and how do you see yourself still remaining involved in the sport and in the community in the rugby space?
Well, I came to Hong Kong as a 20-year-old in 1992. In fact, I was a police officer here in Hong Kong for 11 years, and then I joined the rugby union in 2003. So I've not really done a wide range of jobs. I've done two. I was rubbish at being a policeman. I only arrested one person, and he was burglarizing my own flat. So I've been slightly more successful as the CEO of Hong Kong China Rugby, arguably. But I've done it for 21. Well, I've been with the union for 21 years. I've been the CEO for just under 8 years, and I've loved it. And I've been so lucky to have the opportunity to work in sport and in rugby, something that I love and I'm passionate about. But I'm 52. I've got a few more years to work, and I thought, I either dig in at the union, or now is the time. We're through COVID. We're through some very difficult times. We're back to some stability. Now it's probably good to have a change. Good for me, good for the organisation. It's a chance for me to go on good terms, on my terms, and find hopefully one more final adventure in the sports and events industry here in Hong Kong. So we'll see. I feel in my water. I've made the right choice. Time will tell. I've got a couple of months left, and then we'll see whether I can find a job.
Well, I certainly wish you all the best on this new voyage and this new adventure, and it's been such a pleasure connecting with you. Robbie McRobbie, he's the CEO of Hong Kong China Rugby, chatting to me about the Cathay HSBC Hong Kong Sevens Rugby. And like I said, let me just repeat the fact that if you haven't done it, go do it. Look at it right now. You've got a year to plan it now, and I think you're going to have a tremendous time, and look forward to hearing your stories. And like he said, don't stop believing. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to have more of the Sandton Times Hour and wrap it all up right after this.
The latest news,
The biggest names,
the best destinations.
the hottest entertainment. This is the Sandton Times Hour.
So coming back to my previous interview, do yourself a favor and make a plan to attend the Hong Kong Sevens. It's really a tremendous experience. So to give you some impressions of Hong Kong, or the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China, because yes, Hong Kong is now part of China. And as you might remember, Hong Kong was a British territory in 1997. I think I vaguely remember Prince Charles heading out there and handing it over to China. And then there was an entire plan in place to gradually then hand this over to China in a whole process, which I'm not going to go into now, because that'll take a whole history lesson to go through. Having touched on that, Hong Kong is very organized. I mean, it's a well-established city. It's got loads of history. 7.4 million people live in Hong Kong, and it's about 1,104 square kilometers. So it's not a big city, but it is so easy to get around. And this is one of the great things when I say to people, if you want to go and travel there, I loved it because I got myself one of these octopus cards, and what you do is that you load it and you can use it for all public transport. There's also quite a few shops that let you pay with this octopus card, but they've got trams, they've got buses, they've got subways, they've got everything. There's even a ferry that you can take across the ocean, essentially, across the channel, and you can visit different parts of the city that way. But what's so amazing about it is that it's so cost effective, and you can get to anywhere in the city in such a short period of time. Hong Kong is also unbelievably safe. I mean, I was walking around with my cell phone in hand, which is something I would never think of doing probably in any South African city at this stage, especially at night or at 1 o'clock in the morning in the city centers, with your backpack, with whatever you've got with you, your camera or your wallet. And everyone speaks English. People are very happy to help because of obviously the British background that Hong Kong has as well. There's also a very strong Western influence in the way Hong Kong operates. And it was just a really great city to get around and to see things. And there's a lot to see. And I'm going to touch on some of those things just now. We did some great sightseeing as a group. We decided to go up to Victoria Peak as one of the things, and also you do that with the Peak tram. They've got sort of a long-standing tram that was built many, many years ago that you can take up to the highest point on the hill of Hong Kong, because Hong Kong is quite hilly. So there's quite a few mountains around Hong Kong, and you can get some great perspectives of the skyline there. And what I also found was very interesting about Hong Kong, and maybe this is something that is a little bit of in transition, but they've decided to keep a lot of the names like Victoria Peak from the past. They haven't decided to rename it. Nobody's really thought about really changing the name as the city's been handed over to a new jurisdiction and a whole new dealing. Maybe this is something that they're still going to do. But I was quite amazed to find a lot of these old British names that have stuck with the city. Then also they've got Avenue of Stars, which showcases a lot of the Chinese and also Hong Kong stars of TV and music and screen. And at night, you can actually stand at this Avenue of Stars and you can see the whole skyline of Hong Kong. And they've got this fantastic laser light show that they do. And you can see this all unfolding with the ships in the front. I mean, it's really, really cool. It doesn't cost you anything. You can do that at no cost and just stand there every evening. I think it's at 8 o'clock every night. And it's quite nice to also take the ferry because you can also see it from the boats. Then we also checked out the Sky 100 observation deck, which is sort of the highest point, the 100th floor of the tallest building in Hong Kong. And you get to see the whole city again and how dense it is and how many people get to operate in that city. And then you get to see some more cultural things like the Man Mo Temple, which is more of a sort of a religious site. There's also some interesting historical places, which also touch on sort of like the first police station and the first prison in Hong Kong that was built by the British. And then in between, you've got the sort of everyday Hong Kong life happening, which is revolving around shopping and food. And I mean, the shopping in Hong Kong is quite fascinating as well. They've got streets which are lined with sneaker stores. If you're into sneakers, that's something you might want to check out. Tech is obviously a huge thing in Hong Kong. So if you're into doing any sort of tech shopping, from USB sticks or anything sort of very small to like the big stuff, all of that's there. And I must say, also very well priced, much better than in most other places. They've also got outlet malls, which weren't as great as some of the stuff I'd seen in other places in the world. So tech is definitely Hong Kong's strong point. And then they've also got, they've got open air markets like the Hong Kong Ladies Market on Tong Choi Street in Mong Kok. And what's really interesting about that is that there's only ladies that are running this market. So every stall there that sells souvenirs and T-shirts and accessories and all kinds of things, all managed by women. And I thought, what a great idea. Like we should have something like that in South Africa where you've got a market that is just run by women entrepreneurs, each stall. And I thought, what a great sort of concept to have. And then, of course, Asian food, right? I mean, there is plenty of it. They've also got a lot of Western food, so you'll find your usual McDonald's and Starbucks and all those things. But if you want something authentic, well, there's plenty of restaurants to go to. A lot of duck and goose in Hong Kong. So if you're into that kind of thing, you can walk into almost a restaurant in every corner, and you can have some duck and goose dishes and different broths. There's some other fantastic restaurants we went to. I know there was also a dim sum library that we went to as a group and tried out a whole bunch of different dim sum. But I must say, overall, it wasn't a hugely expensive experience. Hong Kong, I found, was very reasonably priced. I think if you plan it well, if you stay in the right areas, and as I say, it's not difficult to get around Hong Kong as well. Also, the food price is not unbelievably expensive. It's a great holiday, and you can really get to experience a slice of Asia at a very fair price. Well, if nothing else, maybe a little taste of Hong Kong this week has whet your appetite, and I encourage you to consider the city as one of those have to visit and have to explore spaces. And I can tell you there's tons to see and there's tons to do. And whatever your flavor of travel is, I'm sure you will find something in Hong Kong. And that's all we have time for this week on the Sandton Times Hour. As always, available as a podcast on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Podcast Party, and so many other leading digital audio platforms. If you want to get in touch, you can email editor@sandtontimes.co.za or connect on social media @Sandton Times. and visit the website www.sandtontimes.co.za. And I encourage you also to check out the social media. We've posted quite a bit there from this Hong Kong trip, and check out the videos. And it just gives you a different dimension, a different flavor of what we've chatted about this week. So also feel free to send through your questions and your comments. And of course, thank you to all my guests and the brands and teams that are involved in making this hour happen. And thank you to you for listening. And let's do this again next week.